We welcome two guest speakers today from the Human Relations Commission of St. Charles City, and I am thrilled to share their bios with you now. Kathleen Thompson is with the City of St. Charles and has been for the past 14 years and holds the position as the St. Charles County CDBG Administrators, and I guess you'll explain what that stands for? Okay. Her career has been devoted to enhancing the well-being of community members. She believes in the strength of community, and that belief is reflected in not only her professional life, but in her personal life as well. She is passionate about addressing the needs of residents and ensuring that our community remains a welcoming and thriving place for all. She has organized numerous outreach and holiday adoption events and helps families in need. In her spare time, Kathleen likes to spend time with her family, friends, and pit bull companion. Charles Chuck Lovelace III, GISP, and I know you'll tell us what that stands for. Oh, no, there it is. Chuck is a dedicated Geographic Information Systems professional and presently holds the role of GIS coordinator in the City of St. Charles Department of Community Development, GIS Division. With a dedicated service spanning 34 years within the city, he has cultivated extensive expertise in local government, city planning, and geoinformatics, showcasing dedication in his responsibilities. In addition to his GIS duties, Chuck takes an active role as the staff liaison for the City of St. Charles Human Relations Commission, or HRC. Under Chuck's guidance, the HRC achieved notable recognition, being honored with the Local Human Rights Commission of the Year Award by the Missouri Department of Labor. Beyond his professional commitments, Chuck contributes his time to educational initiatives. He actively engages in the Geo Mentor program within local school districts, passionately teaching students about mapping and geography as part of the STEM program. Furthermore, in his spare time, Chuck has volunteered with Food Outreach Incorporated, an organization dedicated to providing vital nutritional support and improving the quality of life for individuals, men, women, children, all humans living with cancer and HIV/AIDS in the St. Louis area. His dedication to both community service and education underscores his passion for making a meaningful difference beyond his professional responsibilities. And one thing important you forgot to admit is that he's my friend, too. So thank you, and welcome, Chuck and Kathleen.
Can I pull this off? Okay. Thank you for inviting us to come speak with you today. I did want to mention, before I start talking, we do have some handouts in the back. We'll be talking about this a little bit later, but I've got handouts and then some coloring pages for children and some crayons. And then also, I take these to Aldi's with me. Shopping bags with the logo on it. So those are back here, and help yourself afterwards. Like Jill was saying, my name's Chuck Lovelace. I'm the GIS coordinator with the City of St. Charles. Geographic Information Systems is pretty much my job with the city, other than the Human Relations Commission. GIS is mapping, computer mapping. It's used, everybody has a GIS on their phone. It's your Google Maps, that type of thing, Apple Maps. The police use it in their patrol cars. Snowplows use it. It's technology in the ambulances, city planning. I'm in the planning division, or I was in the planning division, and they use it. So anyway, I'm here today to talk about the Human Relations Commission. On this slide, we have the members. In the past, we've had up to 10 to 12 members. Right now, we're down to quite a few less, but the chair is Victor Ponce. Jason Dunn is the vice chairperson. Jason Dunn, you may know Jason Dunn. He's has done a lot of work with Pride St. Charles. Tina Meyer is one of our commissioners. She's with the Megan Meyer Foundation. You've probably heard of Tina. Jessica Ross Sutton is an educator with the City of St. Charles School District. Dr. Wade Steinhoff is the superintendent of the Orchard Farm School District. Thomas Wilkinson is the lieutenant in our police department at the City of St. Charles. Bill Otto, you've probably heard of him. He is the city council liaison. Mayor Dan Borgmeyer, another name you've probably heard. He's on the commission. Chuck Lovelace, you probably just heard of him. He is the secretary, treasurer, and staff liaison. And then my friend and coworker, Kathleen Thompson, is the CDBG manager. And she'll tell you a little bit more about that in a little bit. Next slide. Okay, we're going to kind of go over the history of the commission, the purpose, where we meet. We're going to talk about the DREAM project, past activities. I don't have future activities on there. I'll bring one of those up. And the Human Relations Award that we give out every year, and some information on fair housing, and then CDBG. Next slide. The history of the commission. The St. Charles Human Relations Committee was created by Ordinance 08126 on June 18th, 2008. The formation was sparked by an incident in late 2007, which involved a local business owner and illustrated the need for the City of St. Charles to provide the community with support when they face unfair discrimination that infringes upon their civil rights. The purpose of the Human Relations Commission is to promote respect, harmony, and understanding throughout the St. Charles community, endeavor to eliminate prejudice among citizens, groups, agencies, and departments within the city, promote mutual understanding and respect among all civil, racial, religious, cultural, and ethnic groups in the community, the Human Relations Commission employs various means to inform and engage the St. Charles community in an effort to fully fulfill the purpose. We sponsor and participate in events throughout the year, and we recognize a person of the year who represents our visions and ideals. Our meetings are in this building, St. Charles City Hall. I've worked there for 34 years. I always have people in the community refer to it as the Flash Cube. I don't like on your old cameras, the Flash Cube building. So we meet on the third Thursday of the month, 4:30 p.m. In the St. Charles City Hall Council chambers. The meetings are open to the public. We do have a section on our agenda where if you're a guest, we basically welcome you. You can stand up and kind of give the reason why you're there and that type of thing. Kind of allows a little bit of input from the community. HRC has participated in a multitude of activities, and these are just some of the ones that we've done, just kind of off the top of as we were going down. Your Rights as a Tenant, that's a program that we've done. Point-in-time homeless count with CDBG. St. Charles Jewish Festival, we participated in that. Community Council, Community Services Summit with CDBG. Pride St. Charles City Lights, Step Up and Sleep Out event with Youth in Need, Multicultural Reading Day, St. Charles School District Family Festivals, the Census, Diversity Film Series, Fair Housing Conferences, Family Cultural Days at the Foundry, Project Read and Reach, and a lot of these we're going to discuss separately, but there's a couple I don't have slides for. I wanted to mention the Census. The Human Relations Commission participates in the census. We go out into the community and we reach out to undercounted parts of the community that don't necessarily get around to filling out their census forms. We can't fill them out for them, but we can encourage them to do that. We do a thing called March to the Mailbox. It's like a big media type thing. We we're all out at the mailbox at the corner down by City Hall, and sometimes the press is there. And in the past mayors, they'll go out and they'll show them putting something in the mailbox, just kind of represent that you need to get out and fill out the census forms. The important thing about the census is it's how we get our representation, how we get the number of representatives that go to Congress. It's also important because a lot of our tax dollars are based on populations. When it comes to federal government, state government, it depends on how many people are in the community. CDBG funds, which you'll find out about later, are also based on the census. So I was appointed the census liaison back in the 90s with the city when Grace Nichols was the, I don't know if you remember Grace Nichols, she was our mayor for many years, and I've been in that position for since then. So that's important, the census. Next slide. One of the activities that we've done is the DREAM Project. I get a lot of calls from cities around the country asking about the DREAM Project, and they want to mimic it. They kind of like what we've done with that, but basically you take the I Have a Dream speech and all the school districts in the area, their art classes, they take a line from the I Have a Dream speech and they create art based on the line from the speech. So that kind of gives you a little bit of information. In 2024, we got a call from the state of Missouri. They wanted to recognize us with a human rights acknowledgement. We received an award. We went to Jefferson City. We had a nice luncheon. It kind of reminded me of the United Nations. It was interesting going and seeing everyone. But yeah, we were presented that back in 2014. Very few organizations or very few of these awards have been given out, especially recently. But these are some of the pieces of art that the kids in the community have submitted for that. We always gave out little buttons and badges and trophies and that type of thing for the children. And they usually get their artwork back. I do have a couple pieces that were never picked up that I just kind of hold on to. So next slide. We also participate in the Jewish Festival. Has anybody been to the Jewish Festival in St. Charles City? Oops, that is turned sideways. That's me, and that's Rabbi Landa. He's the one that, here he is here, and my partner Todd, who is out in the audience, and my mom. I better mention her. So there's kind of a running thing with the rabbi and myself. We do a selfie every year. So either he's walking towards me or I'm walking towards him, and he's always like, oh, it's selfie time, isn't it? Or I'll say that. So that's our selfie from this year. But they meet at the Foundry, the Jewish Festival. It's out in the parking lot. Sometimes it's very warm because it's in the middle of summer. But they have food, crafts, lots of entertainment, music, dancing. They have this little passport. It's like a Jewish-type passport that you can get stamped as you go along and learn about the Jewish culture. But that's kind of what that is. And here's all the folks that, it's kind of blurry, but all the folks that were at the Jewish Festival that volunteered. That was last year's. So next slide. Okay, I don't know why these are upside down. Okay. Anyway, the Community Services Summit is a one-day summit that they have at, which church is that? Calvary Church, and that's on Mid-Rivers, right across from the community college. We just did this about 2 weeks ago, I think. But anyway, the topics are early childhood advisory, cannabis and conversations with our youth, current trends in substances being sold, psychiatric disorders and pediatric populations, de-escalation of adolescent mind synopsis, self-care, secondary trauma, bullying and suicide prevention, early child care trauma, collective racial healing, exploration case studies, and LGBTQIA+ and mental health. Those are some of the things that they discuss. This year was the 25th summit that they've done. But we have a table there, and as you could have seen in the upside-down picture, we were giving out bags and different HRC swag. One of the other events we participate in, we do this every year, is Pride St. Charles. I'm glad these are facing up. Mayor Borgmeyer and some of our commissioners, the mayor on stage with Pride St. Charles representatives and some of the HRC commissioners. We have a booth that we set up at the festival. The festival's at the Family Arena. I don't know if you all have been before. It's a really good event to go to. But we have our table set up, and we, of course, give out more of the bags and different HRC type swag. A lot of people come up and talk to us. The mayor did a speech. It was fantastic. So, next slide. Multicultural reading days. We do this at the local libraries. We did this at the Kate Linneman Library, and we did this also at the library that's off of Highway 94, which I would have known because there was a picture of it here that isn't showing up in my slide. But anyway, we do this at 2 different libraries. It's a lot of work because we do them both in the same day. So we try to be at both places at the same time, so we're running back and forth. But people from the community come in. We have our fire department, police department. We had somebody that did something on quilting. We have commissioners come in. They all read books, cultural type books. And it's usually pretty successful, the ones that we've done. So hopefully we do more of those in the future. But those are through the St. Charles County Library System. This is something I'm really proud of because I'm a movie collector. And I'm really into motion picture history and that type of thing. So we started doing this series. It's called the Diversity Film Series at the Foundry Art Center. It was sponsored by the Human Relations Commission, the Megan Meyer Foundation, Pride St. Charles, and St. Charles JCs, along with the Lions Club. We have a lot of sponsors because when you do a film festival, you just can't bring a DVD in and set it up. You have to get permission from the studios to show it. A lot of people don't, but we did. We had to pay to have the rights to show these movies, so we did A League of Their Own, Coco, Remember the Titans, and Hairspray. Those are the ones that we showed at the Foundry. We had demonstrations on Day of the Dead, dancing. Some of us put our sombreros on and maracas, and then we had different guest speakers come in from the community and talk. But each film was on a different night of the week, and it was pretty successful. I hope we do more of these in the future. Those have been in June and July. We have not done one of these in a couple of years, but hopefully we do more. Next. Cultural Days. PNC Bank. I don't know if you've heard of PNC Bank. They sponsored this with the Human Relations Commission and the Foundry Art Center. These are some of our commissioners. Nina Bryans, Humera Kabani. They were commissioners at the time. And then I think this gentleman is one of the ambassadors from Mexico that came into town. This was at the Foundry. We had food. It was based on Latinx heritage, and we had dance, music. It was a pretty good day. The Foundry was packed with people, which was a good thing, learning about the culture. Point-in-time homeless count. The Human Relations Commission actively supports the point-in-time homeless count, which takes place every January. The homeless count, you go out into the community and you try to count the homeless. We pick the coldest day of the year, which is the end of January on the meteorological, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, calendar. And Kathleen participates in that as well. And she'll probably tell you a little bit more about that. But these are some photos. I believe we usually are escorted with the police for that, but a lot of our commissioners will volunteer to go out and participate in that. So next slide. This is something I'm really excited about. A lot of people don't know about it. Actually, I'm one of the only people who have checked books out from our library. So anyway, this is our lending library. If you go to this webpage, and I can send all this information to you, we have tons of books the commission purchased. Fair housing books, books on disabilities, human rights, LGBT, lots of different varieties. And there's books in there for younger kids. There's books in there for educators. This is one of my favorites, The Color of Law. I met the person who authored this book. It's fantastic. It's a planning book. If you're into city planning, I highly recommend it. But that's our lending library. It's on our city webpage. I guess I'm the librarian for it. We don't really have, I need to get one of those stamps, like the old stamp. But yeah, you can check them out and just return them to me whenever. We don't have like we're not going to fine you or anything. So next. This is something I wanted to talk about. The city does this thing. It's called the Municipal Equality Index. It examines how inclusive municipal laws, policies, and services are of the LGBTQ plus people who live and work there. Cities are rated based on non-discrimination laws, and municipalities and employer services, law enforcement, and leadership from the LGBTQ plus community. I always have a lot of people ask, we're one of the only cities in the area that get rated. Oops, can you go back? Sorry. The other cities in the state, Cape Girardeau, Jefferson City, of course, St. Charles, Columbia, Kansas City, St. Louis, Independence, and Springfield. All of those places have universities. St. Charles has Lindenwood University. That's one of the reasons why we get rated through the HRC, the national HRC. So if you could bring up the Municipal Equality Index. This is the one from last year. Okay. The highest score is 100. Oops, can you move that up a little bit? Sorry. And then over that way, I guess. Okay. We started out with 30. Okay, that was a few years ago. Every year we're moving up. We're at 60. I'm happy to report, and I can't report it because it hasn't been announced yet. But we will be doing, the HRC will do a press release on this later, but we're going to do better this next year. I think everyone will be pleased. The numbers look good. So as long as we continue in the upward momentum, that's a good thing. But the city is scored on several different things. Discrimination in city employment, inclusivity, domestic partner benefits. This is very important. Does your city have an HRC? The city of St. Charles has an HRC. LGBTQ liaison in the city executive office. There's things in here on bullying, police department. Our police department has worked really hard to get their scores up. I think they have 100 in their category. It's a 100%. It's fantastic. But anyway, this is released every year. Like I said, we started at 30. We're now at 60. And you will probably see some good news come out of this in the next few weeks. I think it's going to be reported very soon. The numbers keep going up, but that is their story to tell, and I will let them tell that when it comes out. So the HRC, the national HRC. So anyway, that's that. And then can we go back to the... And I don't know what that is. Okay. The Human Relations Award. If you scan this with your phone, it's also on a piece of paper that we have back at the table you could take with you. Basically, we get this award out every year, and we look for people or organizations who have these different characteristics: promote mutual understanding and respect among all social, religious, cultural, and ethnic groups. Number 2, encourage dialogue and inclusivity with diverse groups. And 3, promote best practices in human relations. If you know someone or an organization, you can fill this out and do the QR code. There's a fancy GIS interactive question and answer on that QR code that we put together, that my department put together, that will catalog your vote. And we select the nominee or recipient here in a couple weeks. So past recipients, I don't know if you all know Dr. Jose Jones with Boxing Therapy down on 2nd Street. Fantastic organization. Check it out. Tina Meyer with the Megan Meyer Foundation. She's also one of our commissioners now. She was a recipient. Alex Reichert. He worked on and pretty much helped put together the diversity film series. Matt Miller with Neighbor Helping Neighbors, and he's also a member, retiring, I believe, is that right? Retired from the Calvary Church that we have the, oh my gosh, my mind just went blank, Community Services Summit at. Jason Dunn with Pride St. Charles. Youth in Need, you probably heard of Youth in Need in the community. They do quite a bit. Melissa Whitwam, she was the director of the Foundry Art Center. I also want to mention, since we're talking about the Foundry, if you have not seen the exhibit on being Jewish in St. Charles, I highly recommend it. It's an exhibit going on at the Foundry currently. Check it out. Officer Paul Yadlowski, somebody you know, because Kathleen used to work at PD, St. Charles Police Department. And Judge Dan Pelican, you've probably heard of him before. He was with the family courts. There's also a couple on here. I want to mention Mayor Patty York was also a recipient of this in the past. So these are our past honorees. You can scan it on your phone, or we have the brochure in the back for this year. Okay. The CDBG and HRC recently participated in fair housing training. You've probably seen this symbol. Realtors have it on their business cards. You see it everywhere. Equal housing opportunity. 7 protective classes: race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status. I don't know what happened to the S in the back. It's trying to get away. Disability. Okay. This is my contact information. And then if there's any questions, I'm going to wait till after Kathleen is done with her portion of the presentation, and then we'll take questions from everybody. So thank you very much.
All right. Good morning. I am Kathleen Thompson. I'm going to totally confuse you. Promise. I work for the city of St. Charles, but I am St. Charles County's Urban County Administrator. And CDBG is the Community Development Block Grant. St. Charles County is made up of these municipalities. I haven't had enough coffee. It's not every jurisdiction in St. Charles County, but these are ones that chose to join to make up the Urban County. Next slide. So let's talk about CDBG. What is CDBG? Community Development Block Grant. So we are federally funded through HUD. And this is why St. Charles County wants to build stronger communities together. So we We want to promote affordable housing, create suitable living environments, and we want to expand economic opportunity. This is our primary objective, and we assist, everybody that we assist is considered low to moderate income by federal guidelines. And St. Charles County is an entitlement community. So because we're an entitlement community, we receive an annual allocation of CDBG funds, and it's usually around $1 million a year. These are the programs that we have chosen to help build a strong community. We have acquisition, which I'll show you a picture of later, housing rehabilitation, home buyer assistance, which would be down payment assistance for someone to purchase a new home, code enforcement. We have a lot of public service dollars, a transportation program, and we get administration dollars. And this is all out of our $1 million. Next slide. So we take our $1 million. 2023, we just received our funding, and we got $1,064,000. Out of that, I can tell you that, let's see, transportation received $40,000. Home improvement is our largest program, so we put in roughly $350,000. Code enforcement, $70,000. Public services, you got me on that one. I can't remember off the top of my head. Affordable rental is usually about $40,000. It varies. And administration. So our administration fee is usually 20%. So 20% of $1,064,000. Please do the math. But we don't take 20%. We put it towards the community. So we take anywhere between 10 to 15%. And public services, we give 15%. And the percentages are figured by HUD. So the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, they set those percentages. So we don't set those. Our biggest program is our home improvement program. The home improvement program, essentially, we fix someone's house and we pay the bill. So if they have electrical problems, plumbing, siding, anything health and safety related, we would cover. These little red dots is everybody that has participated in the program since 2019. That's when we purchased our computer program, and I can track it better. So in 2019, we served 35 households. 2020, we went up to 44. 2021, it went down to 31. All of the mess going on. Nobody wanted us in their house. 2022 was 57, and to date, we're at 55. So, from 35 to 55, that's a pretty big jump. Next slide. We also serve, we help people with transportation. So it's essential transportation. We take them to doctor's appointments, the post office, banks. We currently have 65 people, and this is all of St. Charles County but the city of O'Fallon. And I say that because the city of O'Fallon gets their own pot of money. So anywhere in St. Charles County, they would contact me. City of O'Fallon, they would contact O'Fallon. Next slide. This is my brag board. I'm a very short presenter. Chuck had all the thunder today. So we have affordable rental. Our project was acquisition. We gave a nonprofit organization money to purchase an affordable rental property. They have a wait list, like everybody else, and they have a preference to seniors and disabled and veterans. Down payment assistance, if you're within our income guidelines, you can get up to $10,000 for down payment assistance, which in this market is huge, but good luck finding a house because the house limit, the price, is restricted. We work a lot with Habitat for Humanity. This is actually a Habitat house. So any extra money that I have come in, I usually give it to Habitat because it's a wonderful organization. Next slide. Okay, this is our code enforcement activity. So our activity pays an employee's salary to drive in a designated census tract. We just learned about the census. This is why it's important. The census tract, at least 51% of the people that live in that area are considered low income. This business is one of them. This is the Walgreens on Fifth Street. And you'll see that their retaining wall was crumbling. So we wanted to make sure that it won't fall into the street, somebody won't get hit by a block as they're walking by. So they fixed it. They didn't use our money for it, but the code enforcement officer went out there and said, hey, fix your wall. You can't have this. It's a safety problem. We all have those neighbors, that have junk around their house, and you really wish they'd pick up more. We have that in the city. Not a lot, quite a few. This particular one, she was a sweet lady, but she didn't want to bother her trees because she thought that they looked beautiful. That's her house. You can't see her house. A code enforcement officer got involved and said, you really need to clean up your house. Hey, let me refer you to this program. This is her house now. So, we use the program to help cut her trees. And trees are very expensive to remove in case you are not aware. Next slide. This is our home improvement program. So I can go on and show you picture after picture. Our code enforcement officer noticed that this house has peeling and chipping paint. Well, she's a single mom. She really needs to fix up her house, but painting or replacing siding, who can afford that? She applied for our program. Next slide. And here it is done. We paid for it. As you can see, it was still under construction when we went, but it looks so much better. All the neighbors were happy. They didn't have that one house in the community. And it's a great program. It's a brief, I don't even think I'm bringing it justice to what we do. Next slide. So we learned about the point-in-time homeless count, which we literally go in the community on the coldest day of the year, and it's miserable. But there's people sleeping in the community, on the street, in the woods. And we report all of this to the federal government. And this is how the Community Council of St. Charles County gets their money. Different organizations and social workers go out and they have contact with people that are homeless. What else am I forgetting? Oh, okay. So we have two more things. The City of St. Charles employees have Adopt a Family. And we pick people in our city who could really use Christmas or Thanksgiving. And they show up with police cars, fire trucks. Like for Thanksgiving, they're going to get a whole turkey, the sides, and everything. Christmas, of course, Christmas presents. We have an animal control division who the animal control officers dress up like Santa. And it's South Side Santa and North Side. It's something crazy. They have wild, weird costumes that they wear. They have elves that go. But everybody in the family gets a Christmas present, not just the kids. And they'll get meals. We've gotten donations of like pizzas and stuff for the family. In our Helping Hands event that we attend, we have all of our information at the table, and the Helping Hands event gives essentially people a winter coat, because you can't afford, if you have more than, if you have some kids, winter coats are expensive. The economy is not doing so hot. So people can go and they'll get a winter coat and personal care items and a hot meal. And I believe the kids get to meet Santa. And there's other organizations that they can have resources for. We've done this 4 years? Yeah. The past 4 or 5 years. And it's a remarkable experience. You see people that are literally in need. So, yeah, it touches my heart. It touches Chuck's heart. We have information on the table when it is. I think that's it.
The Human Relations Commission decided our budget usually...
Get up here.
I forgot to mention this earlier. Our budget for the Human Relations Commission has gone from anywhere from a couple $100, $250, up to like $1,200. We don't have a very big budget to do what we do. This past year, the Lions Club gave us a donation. It was a couple $1,000, I think like $2,000. What the commission voted to do this year is to take that money and put it towards the Helping Hands. So coming to my office here very shortly, I need to prepare for it because I don't have a lot of space, but we have hundreds of stocking hats, gloves that the commission purchased, personal care items, toothbrushes, deodorants, boxes and boxes of this stuff showing up to give out at Helping Hands. But the thing is, we take these blue bags and we put all these items into the blue bag and hand it to the person at this event. Keith was at the event last year and helped out with it. You don't realize how many people need these items until you see the entire convention center covered in blue because of the bags. It's a sea of blue, and it's shocking, I will say. Yeah. So that information is back there. So if yes, there was a 55% increase in people in need this past year. Mm-hmm. So it's at the convention center, St. Charles Convention Center. Where Embassy Suites is and that type of thing, right there at, is it Fairgrounds Drive? Yes, I should know because I do maps. Fairgrounds Drive. Close to where Noah's Ark used to be. So, Cracker Barrel. All right. Yep, right next to Cracker Barrel. So, I think that's all. I think we covered everything. Uh-huh. No. The thing with the Human Relations Commission, our slide that showed all the commissioners, we used to have it so that you had to be a city resident or like have a business in the city or whatnot. That has changed recently. We do have commissioners that are from outside of the city that are selected to be on the commission by the mayor. And then Kathleen's program.
Yeah, but the city of O'Fallon. So anywhere in St. Charles County.
Oh, okay. My other question is, why did you choose the coldest days of the year to count the homeless? Because I think a lot of those folks can go to the shelter or...
There's no shelter. There is no shelter currently in St. Charles County. The closest shelter that there's one in O'Fallon, but it's for women and children. But there's no like single men's shelter. They have to go downtown. And they get the best numbers. So the federal government is very number driven, and that's where they get.
So you mentioned that in your budget, that certain the government earmarks a certain percentage. Is that for all the categories or just?
It is just administration and public services. So administration, you get 20%. No matter if you get $300,000, it's 20% administration. And then public service, they can only get 15%. Public services, we provide funding for rent, mortgage, utility assistance. Meals on Wheels is another one. Transportation is kind of a public service, but not, because we have it as an activity. So a lot of it is how you manipulate the system. You know how that is. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I wish $1 million is not enough. It's not in this day and age. So, I wish we could have more money, and applying for a grant through the federal government is not easy. I do it every year, daily. This is my job. So, yeah. Anything else? I'm sorry? Yes.
Chuck, would you share with us why it's important for the city of St. Charles to have this commission?
I think it's important to have the commission because you want people from the committee or from the community to be represented, to have a voice. I think everyone should be treated equally, and it's a good commission to have for that. Also, we have a box down at City Hall that if there's any concerns in the community that come up, you can put a note down there, and we always get back to people. We have people from even southern Missouri, like down in Springfield, that have reached out to us. They're not in our city, but if we can point them in the right direction to where they need to go for certain things, whether it be fair housing or discrimination, that type of thing, if we can refer them to the proper organization, I just think that's beneficial for a city our size to have. A lot of cities don't have this. The city of St. Charles does. No other city in St. Charles County does currently. Like Kirkwood has one. They have one because of the event. I don't know if you remember the event that happened at the Kirkwood City Hall many years ago. They ended up getting one. Ferguson. We all know what happened in Ferguson. University City, they have one, but we're very unique to have it. I think it's very special. It's a place where people can come in the community if they have concerns. We don't get many in our community. I mean, I check the box down there regularly. We've only had a small handful, but it's good to have there. We're ready. If somebody has a question, we're ready. We're ready to point them in the right direction. So, yep, you can send it by email. I read them and I only share them with a few people. If PD needs to get involved, I send it to PD. Sometimes it's a PD issue, so it goes to the police department, but yeah, having the commission on the MEI index gives us points. You don't have a commission, of course, the points will go away. One more thing I wanted to point out about the MEI. Companies like Microsoft, Apple Computer, when they move into a community, they look at this. They want to see how their employees are being treated in an area. If they're going to build a facility in, let's say New York area or whatnot, they want to see how their employees are going to fit in to the community. And by having a high number, it's pretty good. Having a low number, they might say, we'll move on. We'll go somewhere else. So. Oh.